heists belong in movies. At least, that's what people think. Ocean's 11. The Italian Job. Slick criminals with perfect timing. But sometimes, reality is stranger and scarier than fiction. In the spring of 1993, a crew of 4 thieves walked into Holloway Jewelers in downtown Manhattan and walked out with diamonds worth millions. The store was locked, alarms armed, cameras rolling, and yet, not a single soul saw them. The press called it the crime of the century. The FBI called it impossible, and the crew called it just the beginning. This is the story of the Holloway Diamond Heist. How it was planned, how it was executed, and how it all unraveled in a web of greed, betrayal, and heartbreak. Holloway Jewelers wasn't just a store. It was a fortress, located on 47th Street, the heart of New York's Diamond District. Holloway catered to the elite, movie stars, Wall Street executives, even royalty. Its underground vault, constructed in 1978, was advertised as impenetrable. The vault door was 18 inches thick. Motion sensors tracked every corner. Security guards patrolled 24/7. To most, IT was untouchable. But to a man named Victor Marino, IT was an invitation. Victor Marino was 42, Italian-American, raised in Brooklyn. Once a locksmith, later a safecracker, he was the kind of man who could open your bank vault faster than you could unlock your car. Victor had spent years drifting between legitimate work and the underworld. By the early 90s, he was broke, bitter, and desperate. But he wasn't alone. Elena Vega, 33, Cuban-American, an EX security consultant. Elena had once designed alarm systems for banks, until she was caught selling insider knowledge. She knew the blueprints of systems like Holloway's. Tommy Russo, 29, Victor's protege, a hot-headed wheelman with a love for fast cars and a weakness for gambling. Marcus Flynn, 36, Irish-born demolitions expert, quiet and calculating, with connections to New York's underground arms market. Together, they were a crew, not professionals, not Robin Hoods, just 4 people with nothing left to lose. And Holloway was their shot at freedom. Victor studied Holloway for months. He posed as a repairman, slipped into the lobby, and memorized guard rotations. Elena bribed a janitor for floor plans. Marcus mapped the building's weak spots: ventilation shafts, wiring conduits, blind camera angles. The vault was the crown jewel. Its alarm was wired directly to the NYPD's 9th precinct. Break the lock. The police would be there in under 90 seconds. But Elena found a flaw: the alarm system's backup generator. If they cut power and jammed the generator's signal, the alarms would reset for 3 minutes before rebooting. 3 minutes. That was all they'd have. The plan was insane, impossible, perfect. On April 3, 1993, the crew made their move. Disguised as electricians, they parked a white van in the alley behind Holloway at 2:13 a.m. Marcus cut the power grid, plunging 3 city blocks into darkness. Elena jammed the backup. Inside, Victor went to work on the vault. His hands moved like clockwork, twisting dials, listening for the faint clicks of tumblers. Sweat dripped down his forehead as seconds bled away. 2 minutes, 35 seconds later, the vault door creaked open. Inside, trays of loose diamonds, velvet-lined cases of rings, necklaces, and a pouch containing the infamous Blue Regent diamond, valued at $8 million alone. They stuffed $24 million worth of stones into duffel bags and slipped out before the lights flickered back to life. The guards found nothing wrong. Cameras showed nothing. The vault was locked. It was as if the diamonds had vanished into thin air. News of the heist exploded. Headlines screamed, "Perfect crime," and "Holloway robbed blind." The FBI swarmed Manhattan. Dozens of suspects were questioned. Informants whispered names. But no one could connect Victor's crew to the crime. For 6 months, they lived like ghosts. Victor laid low in Queens. Elena moved into a penthouse in Miami under a false name. Tommy burned through his share on cars and casinos. Marcus vanished to Ireland. But money changes people, and greed doesn't stay hidden forever. It was Tommy who cracked first. Broke and desperate, he bragged to a Vegas dealer about the Holloway score. Word spread fast. Within weeks, the FBI had him under surveillance. When agents raided his apartment, they found a diamond-studded Rolex traced directly to Holloway's inventory. Facing 20 years, Tommy cut a deal. He gave them Victor's name. The FBI tailed Victor for weeks. They tapped his phone, tracked his van, watched him from across the street. But Victor was careful, too careful. So they turned to Elena. Elena had always been the cautious one, the brains behind the plan. But she loved Victor, and that love was her weakness. Agents caught her at Miami International Airport with $200,000 in unreported cash. They offered her a choice: testify against Victor or spend the next 25 years in prison. Torn between loyalty and survival, Elena agreed to wear a wire. On January 12, 1994, Victor Marino sat in a Queens diner across from Elena. He thought they were meeting to talk about leaving the country together. Instead, she pressed him about the diamonds, about the vault, about the night of the heist. Victor, weary and nostalgic, told her everything, every detail, every move. The FBI had it all on tape. Victor was arrested hours later. Marcus was tracked to Dublin and extradited. Elena entered witness protection. Tommy got 7 years for cooperation. Victor Marino, mastermind of the Holloway heist, was sentenced to 40 years in federal prison. The Blue Regent diamond was never recovered. Rumors swirl that Marcus smuggled it overseas, selling it on the black market. Others claim Elena kept it, a secret buried deep in her new life. For years, people debated, was the Holloway heist genius or luck? A perfect crime undone only by human weakness. Victor once told a reporter from his prison cell, "We pulled off the impossible. The vault, the alarms, the diamonds. We beat them all. But you can't beat greed. Greed is the real lock you can't pick." The Holloway heist wasn't just about diamonds. It was about people, about desperation, trust, betrayal, and the way dreams of freedom can turn into chains. Victor Marino's crew wanted to change their lives, and they did, just not the way they imagined. Because in the end, the perfect crime doesn't exist. Not when people are involved. Not when emotions outweigh precision. Not when the one thing you can't control is each other.